When I was brand new to points, I didn't know it at the time, but I had no idea what I was doing. And it's no wonder that I could very rarely use points on flights that I actually wanted to fly on. If you're having the same problems and frustrated that you can't use your points, you'll want to pay attention to today's video where I discuss how we get creative when there's no direct flights available on the routes that you want. When I was new to points, if I had a vision to go to the USA, if I was located in Brisbane, I would just type in Brisbane to Los Angeles, and if there was no flights available, then I would give up. But over the years, I have found little variables that we can adjust that will help us get closer to the flight that we want, and so we can travel 15 hours in business class as opposed to 15 hours in economy. So for today's video, I'll use the USA as an example. Now we've already discussed this in other videos, but as a reminder, we want to always make sure we are earning membership points that can be transferred to multiple different airlines. It is simply not good enough to be earning Qantas points exclusively in 2025. There are too many members on the Qantas frequent flyer platform, which means there are very, very little reward seats. Until Qantas fixes that issue, we want to make sure that we can also use the Velocity website, Singapore Airlines website, Cathay Pacific website, Emirates website. But going back to the example, if we wanted to go to Los Angeles, we could type in Brisbane to LA, and we could, number one, check the Qantas website, and number two, check the Velocity website. So the first variable we can change is having access to different airline programs. Now that will only get you so far. So the next variable we can change is the departing city. If you have points, you may have noticed it's very easy to travel domestically. So getting from Sydney to Brisbane, Brisbane to Sydney, Brisbane to Melbourne, all very, very simple. And it's very easy for you to find a reward seat for about 8,000 to 12,000 points. From here, we would open up our search. Instead of just Brisbane to LA, we would search Sydney to LA, Melbourne to LA as well. Again, we would combine this with the dual frequent flyer program, so we would check both Velocity and Qantas websites. Third variable we can change is the arrival city. So instead of just flying into LA, we can also fly into Dallas, we can fly into JFK, which is in New York, we can fly into San Francisco, we can fly into Honolulu. You can see here we've got 5 cities that we can arrive into, and we've got 3 cities that we can depart from. We then also have 2 airlines that we can use. We now have 3 different variables that we can shape around. So we've now gone from one route, which was Brisbane to Los Angeles on Qantas, and we now have multiple different options that we can check that'll help us maximize our reward flight opportunities. If you play around with these and you play around with the dates and you're somewhat flexible with them, there's a very good chance that you'll be able to find something that is suitable. Now, a website that I've previously discussed is using seats.aero. You can do this whole process very efficiently through seats.aero. All you have to do is ensure that you have Velocity and Qantas loyalty programs ticked. You can then use airport codes in the seats.aero search. So you can put in AUL, which stands for Australia's major airports. You can then also type in USA as the arrival city, which will search all USA major airports. You can then click search and you will do that whole process in a matter of seconds. I hope that gets you thinking about some of the possibilities that you can do when you're using points. Particularly when you're flying to Europe, this strategy is amazing. Europe is actually one of those destinations that is somewhat easy to get to because there are so many different variables that you can play around with. If you would like me to make a full video discussing how we can do this for Europe, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy this type of content, I would consider subscribing and also follow me on Instagram where I'm a bit more active.